Hey y'all, get under the covers and get comfortable because we're about to get intimate. No, not that kind of intimate, but close. Did you know that 3 of the most intimate conversations we can have are sex, mental health, and finances? Probably didn't expect that last one, did you? Financial challenges are actually one of the leading causes of divorce and stress today. A big reason? We don't talk about it. At least not thoroughly anyhow. That's where I come in. Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Marie, a certified wealth coach, best-selling author, and the creator of Bedroom Talks. Get financially intimate. A podcast focused on bringing awareness to the importance of financial intimacy and enticing openness to get real in a judgment-free zone. Together, we're going to cover a multitude of financial topics so you can leap toward financial freedom with confidence. Are you ready? Grab your wine or whatever drink you prefer, and let's unrobe this topic. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Bedroom Talks podcast, where we get financially intimate. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the importance of managing money, not just as a means of financial stability, but also as a form of self-love and love for future generations. Are you ready for this? Okay. And by the way, happy Valentine's Day. This is the day that America celebrates love. And yes, it can be a bit commercialized, but let's take it back a notch and let's think about ways to love yourself every day, and one of which is your finances. So, as you know, if you've been listening to this podcast long enough, you know that I tend to bring in a bit of a biblical perspective, and I also have motivational, inspirational quotes that I often share as well. It's a big part of my life and a big part of what motivates me and keeps me going. So this is no different today. What I'm going to be sharing today is scripture from Proverbs 22:7, and it says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." What I want you to think about in this verse is that it highlights the importance of financial independence and responsible management of our resources, okay? Taking control of our finances gives us the ability to free ourselves from the burden of debt, and it ensures a secure future, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. Now, I'd like to take a moment and share a snippet of a personal testimony of mine and how managing my money has had a positive impact on my life, okay? So before I started taking control of my finances, I felt overwhelmed. I was stressed by the weight of debt and paying bills. And it was a lot. It was a lot. I remember lots of tears, lots of frustration. I was mad at myself. I was mad at my employer because I felt like I wasn't making enough money and I was working hard. I just was just frustrated overall. But then I learned about budgeting and saving and investing, and I was able to pay off my debt and secure a better future for myself and for my family. The peace of mind and stability that came with this, with learning how to manage my money and save and invest, brought a sense of financial freedom that in essence brought peace to my life. I just had to pause there for a minute because I do have days sometimes where there's a lot going on. And I have to remind myself, I have to stop and pause and remind myself every once in a while that the things that I have done in the past 8 years to bring me to the place that I'm in was worth it. And that if I continue to do those things, if I continue to manage my money well, keep my emergency savings, invest a little, and just be mindful of my spending, I will continue to have financial freedom and peace. And that allows me to be able to take care of other things in my life and not be bogged down by the stress of financial challenges. So I want to turn for a moment to a motivational quote from a powerful author to inspire us on this journey toward financial wellness. Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that making a living is not the same thing as making a life." By managing our money wisely, we create a better life, not only for ourselves, but also for those that come after us. So I want you to take a moment and think about your family. I want you to think about, your children, or if you plan to have children, I want you to think about grandchildren or potential grandchildren. What example do you want to set for them? What would you like to leave to them? And what can you do today to help make that possible? That is the ultimate form of love. The ultimate form of love is to be an example and to leave something to the generations after you. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave money to the generations after you, but can you leave the example of managing money well? And if you want to leave money and you're able to leave money to the generations after you, that's amazing. That is something that not a lot of people actually get. But the example of managing money is what sets it over the top. So how do we put this into practice? Here's a few tips to get you started today. Know your numbers. Okay? Keep track of your income and expenses, which will give you a clear picture of your overall financial situation. Make a plan. Decide what your financial goals are and create a plan to achieve them. We actually talked about this in the first couple of episodes this year where we talked about goal setting. So if you haven't heard that episode or you would like a refresher, go ahead and go back to, I believe it was episode 2 or 3, and see if any of those things can help you to make this plan. And the next one would be to eliminate debt. Tackling debt with a plan to pay it off as quickly as possible. I often recommend the snowball method, which is where you will make a list of all your debts and start paying extra towards the lowest debt balance, the lowest debt amount, not the highest interest rate. The reason why I say that is because often the highest interest rate debt is your highest debt amount. And it can feel like you're taking forever to pay it off. But if you start with the snowball method, you see yourself knocking this debt out pretty quickly, and that builds momentum and encourages you, and it helps you to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel a whole lot sooner. And that will also encourage you to find new ways to pay more debt off, which will accomplish that a whole lot faster. And the last one is to invest in yourself. Education is the key to financial stability. Invest in your financial education and seek out opportunities to improve your financial literacy. This could look like going on YouTube and watching some videos. It looks like listening to this podcast and taking some of the tips and applying them to your life. It can look like reading books or listening to audiobooks. You don't necessarily have to take classes, but you could do that if you wanted to, if you feel like you needed more extensive assistance with financial education. There are classes out there. There's even coaching programs such as the one that I offer. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me, and I would be happy to have a conversation with you about that. But you definitely can just simply start with reading books, listening to audiobooks, and listening to things like this podcast and applying those tips to your life. So it's essentially the summary aspect of that is that investing in your education on financial literacy doesn't have to be a monetary cost. It's just time. So do you have an hour a week that you can dedicate to listening to something and applying those principles to your life so that you can work toward financial freedom? Is that possible? So I urge you, encourage you, inspire you to take control of your finances today and start loving yourself and future generations through financial management. Remember this: you and the generations to come after you are worth it. And as a final reminder, we have the free 2-day virtual workshop coming up on the 20th and 21st of February on replenishing your credit like the pros. This is a can't miss opportunity to learn from myself the expert tips on credit repair to take control of your financial future. For more information or to reserve your seat, go to www.financialabundanceblueprint.com/workshop or click the link in the description of this podcast episode. With that, I truly thank you for listening to today's episode, and I hope that you've been inspired and motivated to take control of your finances and love yourself and the future generations after you through responsible money management. As always, if this episode was helpful to you, or if you know someone that could benefit from it, please share it, like, follow, comment, give your reviews, and don't forget to come back next week for more tips and insights on financial conversations and just
getting financially intimate with ourselves so that we can be more financially intimate in our relationships and have financial freedom. Thank you for your time.